What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Trav White here, and today I am joined by
Berzinsky.
And guess what we're talking about? Long hair. We're talking about 5 ways that you can style it and look amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So here we set 2 guys with long hair. Trav, how long have you been growing your hair?
Yep, so I've been growing my hair for about, actually exactly 2 years. And I know that because on March 10th, 2018, I got married. And that was right before my wedding, was my last official haircut. So that kind of marked the date where I started growing my hair out.
So here's my last haircut. You can see this on the Beard Brand Alliance channel, where I had the last cut by Jake the Barber. So that's about in July 2 years ago. So I'm not quite at 2 years. So what is it, about 21 months? I've had about 2 trims. I've had 1 major trim and just cutting off, as Jake says, the lettuce as your hair grows out, just evening out the bottom. Not really cutting much length off, it's just to get more of a blunt look at the bottom. So both of us have actually taken a route that basically says don't get your hair cut every 4 to 6 weeks. If you really want to grow your hair, you're actually not going to cut it as much. That's the approach that we've both taken. My son is taking that approach by just staying away from the barber for a little bit. I think as your hair gets longer, you can address whether you want to start styling it and going to the barber more, but I think that's another video.
And if you guys want any tips or tricks on the growing out process, like how you can speed it up, how you can keep your hair healthy along the way, I have a whole other video about that, so you can check that out. I'll link to it in the description.
The real reason that we're here, we can talk about our long hair. And actually you see a variety here. You have this young guy who has the long hair. You see an old guy here with long hair. So personally, I think a long guy can wear, personally, I think an older guy can wear long hair, and I hope you agree. It can kind of fit everyone from, here's the stylish guy, and here's me as
and also stylish
guy. But different phases of life, different professions, but long hair can be for anyone. But you're not necessarily going to wear your hair down all the time. So what we wanted to do is talk to you about.
Yeah, we want to give you some tips and tricks, 5 specific ways that you can style long hair and still look professional, still look awesome in your occupations or going on dates or whatever you're going to be doing. So which is the first one you want to talk about?
Well, we can actually start with what we're looking at right now. Both of us sit here with no product in our hair. We can talk a little bit about that, pluses and minuses to wearing product in your hair. And it really depends on how you're going to style your hair. As we're doing different looks on our hair, it's a little easier for us to style it without too much product in it. But that doesn't mean that you don't use product as you're growing out your hair. I've talked about that a lot in some of my videos, where sea salt spray is my go-to. If you were going to use product, what's your go-to?
So typically I'll use product right after I wash my hair and dry it. So I'll use a heat protectant and I'll spray that all through my hair. And if I blow dry it, it's typically has a little bit of frizz to it. It's kind of all over the place. And I'll use a texturizing spray. What that does is kind of tame the frizzes a little bit. Also gives it just a little bit more volume. And that's if I'm gonna be wearing it down. If I'm gonna be putting it back, like pulled back or in a bun or something like that, I will go no product. But wearing it down, I might put a little bit of texturizing spray at the roots of the hair.
Typically I start out, mine is sequencing based on washing my hair. And I wash my hair, usually day number 1, my hair is down. Just because it's going to be its fullest, it's going to be its most clean, it's going to look probably its best down for me.
When was the last time you washed your hair for this cut?
I washed my hair 3 hours ago.
Okay, so this is actually my 2nd day hair.
Okay.
I washed my hair not yesterday, but the day before. So probably tomorrow and the next day, before I wash it, I'll probably do it in a bun.
So that seems to be a recurring theme with guys who have long hair. Day 1, day 2, wear the hair longer. As it gets dirty, as it gets a little more flat, having options to do some of the techniques that we're going to talk about now on either pulling it up, pulling it back.
Notice the parts though as well too. Yep. He has a middle part. Is that where your part naturally lies, or do you kind of?
I think my natural part might be just slightly off middle.
Okay, so my natural part kind of runs to the side over here, and I like wearing my hair with most of it over to one side and a little bit over to the other. I have done it where I wear a middle part. Let's see if I can pull that out real quick. I don't get as much volume, I think. It's a little bit flatter. Keep in mind, this is my 2nd day hair, so it's starting to flatten out a little bit. But I typically like having the part on one side and majority on the other.
Very different look. So that's actually look number 1. You can wear your hair down, pretty natural, with or without product. In our case, minimal product, but how you part your hair is going to really change the look of it. So you actually saw with Trav right now, with his hair on the side, I would say that's a very current, that's a very 2020 look on a way a guy would wear long hair. When you parted your hair in the center, and could you do that for us again?
Yeah.
This actually can go retro, and we're talking 1970s retro, or we can talk 33 AD retro. You can go biblical,
real biblical.
Biblical, long hair parted in the middle, can give you that very greatest story ever told look. Especially if you have straighter hair, definitely changes the look. When you part to the side, I do think it's a more current look by throwing that deep part to the side, tucking it behind the ears you had before. So in my case, if my hair is slightly off center, by pulling my hair off to the side and tucking it back, doesn't quite have that 70s look as it does when it's in the center. So that's look number one, with a little couple of subsets, wearing your hair down and choosing where you put the part, whether it's in the center or on the side. Second look, what do you got for second look?
So second look, my second go-to is usually just a man bun. Typically, if your hair's long enough, I like to keep the bun visible. So usually not all the way on top. I think that has a little bit of a feminine look to it, but back enough to where you can see it. If you're looking straight on at me, you can still see it, but perhaps not the full bun.
Right.
So the height of the bun, I think, changes the look completely.
Right.
Typically, if I'm gonna tie a bun, see if I can do it on the spot right here. Going to want it to be about right here. So not too high,
but visible. I made a video
visible.
recently. It has to show. If it doesn't show, so whether you're wearing that slightly on the back at the crown of his head or slightly forward, it's got to show for me to be classified as a man bun. Now, a bun can be a number of things. It's bun typically is when you're pulling your hair wrapped up in some way. So that can be anywhere on the back of your head to the top of your head. I have a daughter, and her girlfriends actually, with significant amount of hairs, when they wear their hair on top of their head, they actually name their buns. They get their own names because they take on a personality of their own.
Yeah.
So if you're a guy and you're going to wear your bun up here, you better be prepared that it's coming. You know, people are going to see that bun coming first. So it's a lot of statement when you do that. Moving it back to your head, and that's actually a pretty rule of thumb. The more forward the bun is, the more statement it is. As you move it back to the point where it disappears, the less statement.
One tip to go along with it is your man bun doesn't have to look too polished.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I think the messier it is, the more character it adds.
I do think there's a place, moving forward into this new decade where it doesn't have to be cliche. So there's a thought sometimes that having a man bun with a beard can be a little cliche, but I think it's presentation. It's what you're wearing below, and so you can see here in Trav's pictures, he can pull together some really polished looks, as in some of my pictures where you're wearing, a suit and you can still have your hair pulled back. I think it's really linking clothes to hair, which will define that look more than anything.
Look number 3.
So as we've talked about having a man bun that's visible, my choice for pulling my hair back a lot of times is the ponytail. A lot of times I can actually do that without looking. And once again, this is kind of straight back, and I'm not going to slick it back. I'm not even going to comb it back. I'm actually might want to put my fingers through it and mess it up a little bit, or loosen it up just so it doesn't look as tight.
Give him a side profile. How's it look from the side? Nice. Yeah, I like
so
that.
It's like not studying it, not being too concerned about how precise the look is. And I think that's where men's hair is in 2020. When you have a short barbershop cut, precision, a lot of times you want precision. You're going to a barber, and you might be going every 2 to 3 weeks to get that really sharp taper on the back, really sharp fades, really nice lines. As your hair gets longer, it's a little more fluid, a little more loose, and that's the beauty of having longer hair, is that looseness and that less studied look that sometimes happens when you do have longer hair. So Trav, what do we have for look number 4?
So for look number 4, I think a good go-to is for a more casual look, kind of having a half bun, half down, and it kind of looks something like this. Let me see. Kind of taking at the crown of your head and leaving the rest of it down.
So my variation,
half up, half down.
yeah, so turn sideways. You can see half up, half down with the little man bun. My variation on this, and sometimes I'll wear this, and this will lead into number 5, is do the half up, half down. I actually tend to take less hair, so I have more hair actually down. And that's what you can also do. So you can take a lot of hair and pin it back, but leave some in the back, more of a mullet kind of look. I tend to pull up toward the crown to get as much hair hanging down. And what I'll do is I wear
I like a ponytail.
a ponytail, half up, down, half down.
So there's 2 variations of
Yeah.
it. You can do a bun or a ponytail, half up, half down.
And variation of this is I braid the ponytail, you know, so for some of that kind of Viking look. This is like lots of time in the world and I'm bored, braid the ponytail.
Yeah.
But what this look does for me, well, first of all, like you wear this.
I'd probably wear this with like a denim jacket or a leather jacket. I probably wouldn't dress this hairstyle up in a suit. If I'm doing a suit, I'm probably gonna go full bun or wear it down.
Right.
But this look I think is a little more edgy, a little more casual. Definitely changes up your look a little bit, so I would go dress this one down.
My dress down, this is a gym look for me actually. I tend to wear my hair, I like it down at the gym. I get the kind of a cool vibe, even at the gym with my hair down, but getting it off my eyes, especially if I'm doing anything like a row where I'm leaning over a bench, or if I'm doing any kind of delt work on my stomach, on the back. I don't want my hair flying in my face. So I'll pull it back, wear half up, half down on those occasions also.
So for the 5th and final look, we can add an accessory to our head and have the hair half showing, half covered up. There's several ways you can do this. One is with a baseball cap.
You scared me when you said accessory. I'm thinking a bow, a beret. So we're not doing
we're not doing any bows. We're not adding any scrunchies or anything like that.
Yeah, if you're asking, we're using elastic ties, and Northeast Pennsylvania, it's a Gumby.
I had never heard Gumby until he said that before.
But it's an elastic tie. You can buy them. They're like 20 for like $3 at any drugstore if you're gonna pull your hair.
But anyways, moving on to number 5.
Number 5.
We're gonna
we'll get through this.
We'll get through it eventually. We're gonna add an accessory to our head, and the ones that I typically choose are either a baseball cap, like we have right here, and we have our hair hanging down a little bit. A beanie is really good. Here's a picture of I was wearing a beanie with this look. And even a messenger hat I think would look good too.
Yeah, poor boy.
A poor boy, newsboy hat, something like that. Like a Peaky Blinders hat maybe.
Yeah, the hat is a great accessory to add to your hair. So I tend to wear a hat later on in the process, maybe day 3, day 4 of my hair washing cycle. And also you can use a hat to cover up the fact that your hair just doesn't look good or isn't as clean as you might want it to be.
I think those are all of them, right? Those are all, yeah.
So to recap, we have number 1 was?
Wearing it down and either parted down the middle or on the side.
Number 2?
Was in a man bun with the bun showing, typically at the crown of your head.
Number 3?
Number 3 is the pony.
Number 4?
Half up, half down, as I have it right now.
And number 5?
Use an accessory, some sort of hat. Any hat will do.
So there you go, guys. Those are 5 ways that you can be wearing and styling your long hair in 2020. And so no matter whether you're a young guy or an older guy, many options that you can have. And you can have fun with it. A lot of guys, when they're growing their hair long, I hear it all the time, I'm growing my hair long, I miss going to the barber shop, and I miss the changing of a look that you can get sometimes every 6 weeks or every 3 months with a barbershop haircut. This will give you some options when you're wearing your long hair down that are practical, that are revolving around that wash cycle, but also options that can increase your style based on what you want to wear and based on your mood, based on where you're going. So don't be afraid to experiment with your long hair, and don't be afraid to experiment even early in the process, starting as early as 8 or 9 months.
All right, guys, that was 5 ways you can style long hair. Let me know down in the comments if you have any other styles that you've experimented with. I would love to see them. Shoot me a DM on Instagram if you have any pictures. We'll see you next time. Thanks for being on the channel, Greg. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Good being with you.
See you later.